Hello, my friend. My name is Terry Petrovic, and for the past 25 years, I've been teaching, coaching, and training people how to create a better quality of life, primarily through the home-based business profession. Today, I live a life that most people could only dream about, but I gotta tell you, it hasn't always been this easy. I've had lots of ups and downs on my journey, and what I've come to realize is that success and prosperity have a lot to do with our philosophies, how we think, what's running through our conscious and subconscious mind. And I think from time to time, we all need to hear things from an outside perspective, especially when things become a little bit challenging. You know, if you are not where you want to be right now in your life, you got to ask yourself the question, what's going on? Why is it that some people in the same company, same profession are crushing it and you maybe are in a place where you're struggling? Well, I've created a series, and this series is called Prosperity and the Mentors. And I've pulled together some of the most amazing people on the planet to talk about how they created prosperity, how they have so much abundance in their life, and what really they did to overcome those challenging times. And my goal is to kind of take you behind the curtain and have them share the real deal, to let you know what they did to, process the crap that they went through, the challenging times that they went through, and how they created a quality of life that they've created. Now, I'm excited today because today we have a dynamic husband-wife team. She's born and raised Texan. She's passionate. She's persistent. She's got a fiery spirit. She's been like that, I think, since day one. She's a firm believer in always leaving the world a better place. Now, I just love that, to be able to live your life from that place. Today, she's created a global brand. She changes thousands of people's lives, and she does it every single day. And over the past 12 years, she's created not only a six-figure income, but she focuses on giving back. She does all kinds of private coaching. She's got her own signature brand called Born to Stand Out. She's created self-study courses, online trainings, everything that you can imagine for the mompreneurs. And that's really what she's passionate about. And she's helped thousands of women to create that quality of life, not to hold back, not to give in, but to create the quality of life that they never imagined possible. Now, let me tell you a little bit about her other half. Notice I didn't say better half. This guy's a former professional baseball player turned entrepreneur about 12 years ago. He helped a home business company take one new start to over 40 and did over 17 million in revenue in just 3 years. He launched a private label weight loss product and did about six figures in their first year, which is pretty amazing. Today he's a top earner, trainer, leader in the network marketing space. He spent the last 7 years building massive, and I do mean massive, organizations. My guest today is somebody that I believe the late Jim Rohn would describe as humble, rich, and easy to talk to. He's so passionate about helping people create a better quality of life, leveraging their time and their income on their terms. And why? Well, he's got a beautiful wife. He also has 3 beautiful daughters at home. And for him, it's all about family first. Well, my guests today are none other than the internationally famous Natalie and Nick Sorensen. Natalie and Nick, thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thank you, Terry, for having us.
Appreciate it.
Excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your story. Yeah, so take our listeners a little bit behind the curtain. I mean, with the story that you've created now and the lifestyle that you've created now, you made it look so easy. Was it always that way for you guys?
Not at all. I think that the best way to describe it is the entrepreneurial roller coaster. Like, I really, truly believe it. There's some fun times when you're cruising down and your arms are in the air and you're screaming with a big smile on your face. But then those times where you're doing that uphill churn that you're like, when are we ever gonna make, when does it get fun? When does it get fun? And all those things. And even when it gets stuck and the roller coaster isn't even moving at all, and you've got to find a way to repair it and get back moving. So it's definitely not been easy, but one that was well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not easy at all. I've learned in, whether it's business, network marketing, baseball, I don't necessarily believe that it's fun when things are easy, if that makes sense. I think that most growth happens when things are tough, when that pressure's on you. And so I think we've learned to really embrace that and, work through it and, outwork the person next to us for sure.
I think probably why our story has so many twists and turns and all these different things that we've done is because we really desire challenge, we desire growth, we desire learning. Like, I think Nick and I both have a really strong growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. We truly believe that the speech and the way that you frame your wording and your subconscious, like you said, is true. So we're both, if anybody can do it, we can do it. I mean, it's not like a prideful thing. It's just like, if somebody else out there in the world has created and done it, then they've proven it was possible. So we just have to figure out how we can do it and work, within our family and our, personalities and strengths and all of that kind of stuff.
But definitely never easy, for sure.
Nick, if you could define prosperity and abundance, how would you define that?
I have a friend that sent me a little video clip from Tony Robbins, one of Tony Robbins' big trainings recently. He's there right now live. And he said, true wealth is not how much money you have, it's not how much success you have, it's how you are able to extract enjoyment out of your life. So prosperity for me is that. Like, for me, it's time freedom. It's time with my family. And, our whole entrepreneurial roller coaster, as Natalie mentioned earlier, is it's not necessarily that it's up and down, up and down. It's we're on this train and we're going and trying to find our ultimate destination, which is that. So prosperity for me, it's not the money, it's not the lavish lifestyle, it's not the homes, the cars, all those things. Mm-hmm. It literally is time, experiences, people, and we're constantly seeking that out. And so, I think that, our pathway is taking us down different ways. It creates leveraged income, because leveraged income means that I can have the time that I want. So prosperity for me is so much more than money and things. And I know that's what we talk about a lot, but it's, being able to take my kids to school, go to their activities when I want, and not miss anything and be present.
Mm-hmm.
What can you add to that, Natalie?
I totally agree with what he said.
With a couple purses.
Okay, I do like shoes and handbags and makeup and jewelry. But the one thing I can say, I think it is experiences, but it's memories. It's making memories with people that we love, and it's making a difference in the world. I always think to myself, how can I make the world a better place with the gifts that God's given me? So I wake up every day, I think, focused on that and creating that legacy. Prosperity comes from you pursuing your passions and your God-given natural ability and challenging yourself daily. Like, one of my part of my mission or brand is if you serve enough people that you don't make anything on, you'll always have enough people that you'll make a lot on. I don't know if I said it exactly right, but I'm much more focused on touching so many people's lives that will never affect me financially, that you'll always have enough people that you will attract and that you will work with and that you will have join your team, that you will impact. They will impact you financially. Does that make sense? So I think, to me, it's legacy. Prosperity is a result of you pursuing your, your purpose and fulfilling your legacy.
I love it. That's fantastic. You kind of touched on it there a little bit, Natalie, but let me ask you, do you have any morning or evening rituals? So I know you've got a little girl, a little daughter, and you got two other ones, but in the morning, do you have a regular ritual? Your feet hit the floor and you do A, B, and C?
So I'm going to let Nick talk about morning ritual because he is more of the morning person. Okay?
Well, the other half of it is evening rituals too, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with just my ritual, and then I'm going to let him talk about mornings. So exercise for me has always been something that has helped me not only physically, but mentally. So when I'm at my, if you were to look at my most successful times, my most productive times, exercise for me is something that helps my mind focus. It increases my energy. It's just good for my overall well-being, and is something that without that, I wouldn't attribute, I know I wouldn't be as successful. And I've learned to love it. I don't think I have to work out. I get to work out. I'm so glad that I have a body that can move and can be strong and all of that kind of stuff. I look at that as a gift every single day. So that's something that I always try to do. I mean, I take days off, to rest, but for the most part, I'm a pretty active person. I truly, truly, truly believe in the power of meditation. Nick sometimes can laugh at me because not a day goes by that I don't listen to a guided meditation. I'm very much into hypnosis meditations and binaural beats and those things because I have a brain that works 24/7. If I'm awake, it's working and I'm exhausting it. And so for me, the power of meditation and rewiring my subconscious and having those moments of breathing and trying to not focus on everything that I control in my life and everything that I do and everything that I create and all of my ideas, I really slow that down every day. And I didn't do it in my early 20s. I started in my latter 20s, and I did create a successful business early on. But I had a lot of stress. I had a lot of, I wouldn't say I was that healthy because I just put a lot of pressure on myself, and it was intense. Meditation has helped rewire that. Not that I'm not still intense, but it gives my mind and body that break to reset, to recharge, to rewire my thinking and my programming. And I have to do that on a daily basis to be the best version of myself that I can be. I'm going to let Nick talk about mornings because he is like Mr. King Affirmation, and he's done it incredibly well, especially with our children.
Yeah, so we have 3 daughters, and I read a book when we had our first daughter, which, the first part of the book scared me to death. It's called Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, but it talks about a lot of the studies and stats based on how important a father's relationship is with a daughter, and it really kind of molds their success. And so, ever since then, I've been very intentional about my time with them, my influence with them, and, my relationships with them are very important. So from the standpoint of family and morning ritual, I do that. I get up in the morning, I make them breakfast, I make their lunches. We do that together because it's time for us to do it together. We take their, their supplements that they take because I'm a huge believer in being proactive with your health. And we go to school every single day on the way to school. We do our daily affirmations. And, for a while it was me leading them, and now it's them, and they fight who gets to go. We alter days, and it's not just like a little bit of affirmations. I mean, they're screaming the top of their lungs.
What are some examples of some of their favorite affirmations?
So I mean,
the whole thing. You can just give them a little clip.
Yeah, I mean, so we do. I am. It's I want them to instill confidence in them.
And how old are they? Just so everybody knows.
I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and then a 1-year-old.
Okay.
So the 8 and 6-year-old, they take their turns, and they kind of do their own little spice with it. But it's, I am Tenley, and then the next one goes, I am Surrey. And one will lead every day. So she'll say it, she'll lead it, she'll give her a little spin on it. And then the other one repeats, and then we finish up. So I am Tenley, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm a leader, I'm a great student, I'm a great helper, I listen to my teachers, I listen to my parents, I'm great at math, I'm great at numbers, anything they need to work on. Jesus loves me, just basically anything in our life that we want to instill in them to make sure that they believe it. Because, I think the mind's the most powerful thing we have in our body. And when it comes to, girls and little girls and how they learn, to me, it's invaluable. And we don't just say it, they say it loud, they scream it. And then we say rock and roll. And the other one says tutti frutti. Boom. The other one says I'm fabulous. I'm fabulous. And then it's, boom, shakalaka. So it's a lot of fun that we have together. Surrey, who's my younger one, she'll say, I am sweet. with a little bit of spice. And then sometimes she'll say, I am really spicy. Okay, very, very, very spicy. So we have fun with it. But it's, you know, we're huge believers. And I've been like this since I've been an athlete. You know, you are what you put inside your brain. And you can become whatever you believe and you achieve. And that confidence and that assertiveness and the belief in yourself is the most valuable asset we have in life. And I definitely want to make sure that's the big priority, you know, in our morning. So, you know, from there, and, you know, we're not perfect by any means from the standpoint of home and everything else, but we definitely have intention with that and putting right things into not only our heads. Always she's talked about meditation. She has her strengths. Okay. I'm working on mine to get stronger. You know, I'm better than the affirmation part, but, you know, we have good balance there. From the standpoint of balance in our life, you know, I don't necessarily believe there's such thing as balance. It's, you know, wide open, full throttle all the time, do the best you can. But there's definitely certain aspects that we definitely put our, you know, best foot forward that we think that are the high priorities for sure.
One of the coolest things that I love about what he does with the affirmations is I know as a female growing up my whole life, there were days that you felt strong and courageous and bold and awesome. And then there were days you didn't. You know, maybe somebody said something about you, or maybe you woke up not feeling well that day. So to be able to surround yourself, you know, I guess if you do have a family and you have children and they have siblings, you know, there's days where Suri feels a little down or a little off, and Tinley's, I'm leading and she's saying like, we're this, and she chants it back, like whether she's really feeling it 100%. But what that creates over time, like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, when you always have that person that's like lifting you up, whether you're 150% or you're 95% or you're 75%, but like how it always switches back and forth. Because there's always times where one of them is the one and they're believing it, and they got a good grade on their test, and so they're like, woo, let's do this. And then the other one's like, I got in trouble last night and I'm still kind of upset about it, you know? And so having that just constant, like no matter how you feel or what's going on in your life, you're going to do that. And so if Nick's out of town, I'm driving them to school and they're like, Mom, affirmations, and they want to scream, and I'm like, whoa. Like I'm calm in the morning. Like, I don't know about that. But they can't not do it, which is really, really cool. So
I love it.
I pull myself together and I'm like, all right, I should have woke up a little bit earlier and got a coffee.
I love it. Let me ask you this question. Has there been a book or a item that you guys have found giving to other people over the years?
One of the most incredible books I love to read, so I've read lots of books and I have lots of favorite books, but if I had to pick one that completely changed my life and changed my perspective and really impacted the way that I lived, it's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Not a super popular book. I don't, you know, it's not Girl Wash Your Face where like millions and trillions of people are, you know, raving about it. It was a book that was recommended to me once by a mentor. And I had some powerful realizations just from like the second chapter of the book that completely changed my life. And it's helped me know what my zone of genius is and want to live in that zone of genius, and really help me figure out, you know, what he calls your upper limits. Like when you're really about to do something amazing and you're on the cusp of greatness and, you know, something really big's coming, you're going to get sick. You're going to lose your voice and not be able to speak and get, you know, tested for the flu. Like there's physical things that happen in our life to hold us down, to keep us from achieving ultimate greatness. Real stuff. You're going to break your ankle right before that cheer competition. I mean, inevitably one day we will have an injury during the season when our kids have worked all this time to get there. And they're going to have to realize that that's their upper limit. Like that's how this works, you know? So I learned so much from that book. It's impacted me in so many ways. And I've actually gone back and reread it through different seasons, times where things were tough and I was really pushing when things were good. Every single time I I see it from a whole different perspective. I learn stuff about it. I learn how to help others in another way. So I just think it's brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's probably a couple. I mean, one that really stands out. In fact, it was the course that you led, Terry, which I got a ton from when we studied, Brendon Burchard's High Performance Habits. I love that book. That probably helped me the most, which is habits from the standpoint of what really resonates with me, what I just love and passionate about is a mindset, the psychology of success. Because I truly believe that my strength is definitely my mindset. I always need to get better at my habits. So high performance habits definitely helps me with the day-to-day stuff. But I love the mindset. I think that really separates people as well. So yeah, mindset from psychology of success from Dweck. There's so many. There's so many that are good, but those two probably stand out the most more than anything.
Has there been a purchase that you guys have made in the last 6 months or so for $100 or less that has had a positive impact on your thinking, your overall quality of life?
You always go first, so go ahead.
That's a tough question.
I'll jump in and get a little bit. I mean, books to us are huge. We read a lot. We do really well with audiobooks as well, whether it's, working out. My wife, she says she bought me one of those Peloton bikes, a couple of years ago, where it was really for her and saying, Nick, get your butt in shape type of a gift. It's one of those, it was a gift for Shui. But so audiobooks on there are great. Audiobooks when we're driving. And I mean, you look at books, for example, someone takes a lot of times their whole life, whether it's, a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, and they put everything they've learned into this body of work that you can get through in hours or a week or a couple weeks. And it took me a long time to really get my mind around that. I didn't embrace, personal development. Coming from the athletic world, it was always about physical growth, physical. So it took me a while to grow from that, up here. But once I embraced that, it's actually powerful. So, I mean, you can literally pick up, any of the books we've said, there's thousands of books for less than $10. Go to the library. Mm-hmm. Don't even buy them. If you don't have the money, go get them for free. And then I think that the other thing that we learn, me personally, I learned that's really cheap is just go do it. In fact, I posted something in one of my groups today. It was a funny clip from one of John Wayne's old Western movies. And this young kid was fishing and something got thrown out in the river. And he's like, I can't go get it. I can't swim. And John Wayne looks at him and he's just like, really? Picks him up, throws him in the river. His mom comes running down freaking out. She's like, he can't swim. Like, well, he'll learn. I think the best way to do it, cheap education, is just to go do. You'll get better every single day.
I love what he said. The thing that I thought of.
There's one in a row. Nice.
No, I do. I loved that.
It's recorded too.
Rewind. Say it again. So mine would have to be free. I use YouTube so much to learn anything and everything. I didn't have one day of a college education, and I consider myself pretty educated on a lot of different things. And I mean, it's one of the greatest tools out there, whether it's guided meditations from Triggum Healing or Doxy or all these different ones that I do that are absolutely free. Anybody can start using them right now. They don't have to spend $100 or $50 or $10. It's right there. As to just this morning, I Googled how to make your Instagram profile break out into lines instead of it being together. And I watched a 2-minute video. I learned how to do it because that's the thing on Instagram, little emojis and having a little list. And I'm like, I need to change my profile. So, I mean, I think that's a priceless tool that maybe people forget to use. I mean, I do believe in investing, and I've invested in myself. I've done a lot of things and, courses and programs and workshops and, spending, a considerable amount of money to grow yourself. But on a daily basis, I guarantee you every single day I learn something on YouTube.
Yeah. So let me shift the conversation a little bit more towards business success and the human side of life, Natalie. And, it's kind of like what we're talking about right now. Has there been a time recently, or when was the last time that you personally struggled with your prosperity thinking or your abundant thinking? And when that happened, how did you work your way through that?
So I think I struggle with it. I mean, I say regularly in some ways. Anytime where you work really hard and something doesn't turn out exactly the way that you dreamed of, as a person who's really by nature hard on themselves, they hold themselves to a high standard. They want to outperform themselves. Like, I am my biggest competition. So I'm incredibly hard on myself. And I think that when something doesn't turn out the way that I thought it would be, then I start thinking, well, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm too late, or maybe, and you start comparing yourself, or you start overanalyzing, and it just takes you out of activity. So prosperity mindset, one of the things that Nick does with me a lot, because I do a lot of overthinking. And so I'm like, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And he's like, okay, take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, say all the things, all your ideas, all of your thoughts, all of the fears, all of the whatever's going on in your brain, write it down. And then over here, what can you do about it? What are you going to take action on? What's your plan right now? Get clarity. And when he brings that up to me, I roll my eyes and I get super frustrated. And I'm like, darn it, I know it works. And so I go sit down and I do that, And so, I think that that's what I do. And I focus on, I go back to my vision statement or my vision board or my big dreams. And I go, what happened to me today and this little hiccup or this not turning out the way I wanted it to is no big deal, because I'm not going to let it stop me from the bigger vision, the life I want to live, being there for my children the way that I want to. And so I just go back to the drawing board. I'm like, who cares that that didn't work? Or who cares that, that's not working, or that's not lighting me up anymore. I mean, I've changed gears. I've, created lots of different things. And it's, I don't even look at it as a failure. I just look at it as like clarity. Okay, now I know that's not exactly what I want, or it's not going to work, or that wasn't the way to do it. So back to the idea board. So
Right. Nick, has there been a failure or a mistake that you made at some point that later set you up for success?
Every one of them. To be honest with you, that's what I'm saying. The growth mindset is is that mindset that, hey, this isn't breaking me, it's training me and making me better, so I'll be prepared for the next one. We launched a weight loss product that was our own company. We private labeled it. I was doing $20,000 a day in sales personally, just my company, 80% profit margins. We went from that to literally months later, we hired a guy to really scale it. He was the one that was bringing all this traffic in, and he sent tons of fraudulent traffic to us, and it literally, we blew through 6 merchant accounts. So what went from being a multi-million-dollar business with crazy profit margins, it completely lost everything. And it broke me for a while. It really did. It was a tough hole to dig out of, because I spent so much time building that out. And I look back on it now as just an incredible learning experience. So every time I go through a failure, which is daily, I get told no every single day with something. It's just a building block to make me stronger, to help with my mindset. A few years ago, we contemplated what we were even doing here with this industry. My wife said, go get a job. And it was just to bring a little bit more security, because we were, doing some of this ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. And I think I go back to that, prosperity, comment earlier, success, wealth. It's not necessarily money, it's not security, it's that time. And for me, it was non-negotiable. So these failures are not failures. They're just stepping stones to the ultimate goal of making me better, building what we want. And so I don't look at it as that anymore. It's just that. So big ones happen regularly, weekly. I'll doubt myself, like Natalie was talking about. It used to be hourly, by the minute, by the day. You get better and better over time. every failure has set me up for the next step to be better, to be better, to be better, to be better. And you have to go fail to become stronger.
One of the things that I think keeps people stuck in life is that they're not where they thought they would be, where they think they should be, or just a lot of that. Like they are like, well, I hear people that are stuck with a fixed mindset, and they're saying like, well, my husband told me I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. That's why, like, I'm really struggling with, like, working or needing to make money. And I'm like, I'm thinking that mine told me that too. I mean, like, really a conversation you had when you were, 19, 20 years old, like at a bar, like when you first started dating, like, here's how your life's going to be. That's great. That's not always how it turns out. So I do think we maybe think like, oh, hey, that's not where I want to be. But then we go to the drawing board and say, if this year, we do like an end of the year reflection and then a big like plan and vision dreaming for the next year. And at the end of a couple of the years, we've been like, yeah, like this year's not really, we weren't digging it. Like we went through some tough stuff. And so instead of saying, man, we suck, or like, oh, we're always going to live in this house and have these struggles and like always be arguing about the same things, we go, no, that's not the life we want to live. That wasn't fun. We didn't enjoy it. Like, what do we want? And what do we need to go create and do? And what does that look like? And so we just start dreaming and we get into activity and we go change it. And I think that so many people are just okay and they're settling because they're not where they thought they should be, like, or, well, now I'm 40 and how hard will it be to create success now that I'm 40? Or how hard will it be to get back in shape now that I'm, 30 and have 3 kids? I don't know. It doesn't matter, but you're not 20 anymore and you've got to figure it out unless you're okay with 5 years from now or 10 years from now being in the same place. If you decide you're not, then you start today and you go choose what you need to do today to get to where you want to go.
So that because you're really talking about creating a new vision for yourself. Mm-hmm. Are there a couple of tips that you can share, Natalie, about when you're in that process of creating a new vision statement, if you will? Yeah. What do you cover? What do you think about, or anything like that?
So this is something that a mentor taught me that I really hadn't even opened myself up to before. This was about 4 years ago. Somebody said, jealousy doesn't have to be a bad thing. There have been times where I've scrolled Facebook and I've thought to myself, man, I wish I was in Costa Rica over Thanksgiving instead of, driving down the road to, Wolf Lodge or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Now, each person's dream is different. So we all are given desires and dreams based on what our truest desires are, which is so unique and different for every single human being. So there was times when I might scroll Instagram and be like, man, I wonder what she did, or I wonder what her life's like. She has that handbag, right? And instead of making that make me feel stuck, like I'm not a car person or, but each person has their different things. So when you look at somebody and you think, man, I would love that, or I wish I could do that, or, and sometimes it's negative thoughts like, darn her, like her life is so good and easy, and so jealousy, you can reprogram, like looking at that and wishing you had it, to creating a vision for your life that's like, if I want that so bad and I look at that and wish that my life was like that, instead of staying there and being okay with not, say, I'm worth it, I'm worthy. If I have desires to have, I wanted a white kitchen with gold lights hanging in it. Okay. And when I would look at pictures, I remember about a year ago, me telling Nick, I saw a friend on Facebook building a house, and I got really like sad for myself and was like, I've wanted a white kitchen with gold stuff in it. And like, when I look at these pictures, it's making me mad. And he was like, okay, so what do we do about it? And I'm like, I believe we can go have that. Let's do it. And we made goals and we worked towards.
And you had a white kitchen.
No, we moved. We moved into our house. That was what we were dreaming of and wanting. So don't settle, and don't let it make you bitter or make you resentful. But look at it and say, like, I remember that day where I was like feeling down, and I was like looking at those kitchen pictures being like, I want a new house. I want a kitchen that looks the way that I want it to, that looks like my vision board. And things in our life, I believe in obviously hard work and planning, but I also believe in the power of just allowing yourself permission to have that life, to have those desires, and to welcome them. Like, I'm so grateful now that I have clarity of what's so important to me, because clearly I got upset about seeing that. And now I actually know what I want. And I'm going to go work for it, and I'm going to go figure it out, and I'm going to create a plan of action to support it. I really believe in manifesting is just allowing yourself permission to say, well, if it's available to that person in this life, then why not you, you know? And then create the action and plan to go do it.
I think that's the right mindset going to do it. And the action steps we really take, we talk about, what were our goals for this past year? What did we accomplish? What did we not accomplish? The stuff that we did not accomplish, was it, important that we need to add it on there again? And if so, why did we not accomplish it? Was it not a priority? Was it something that we didn't do good? Or was it something we need to get better at? The things that we did accomplish, how does it make us feel? And like she said, bring it in, make it real. And then we sit down and talk about, what we want to do. And it's not just things and material possessions, it's experiences, it's life, it's setting ourselves up, and a lot of it's growth. We talk about different things that we're going to do, to grow. I already have 2 conferences that I have planned to go personally to go to. I told her I'm going to this one last night, and she's like, excuse me, you're going to it? Not even talking to me? And I'm like, yeah. Can I go? So, at the end of the year, we talk about reflect, then also plan and prioritize. We talk about, what are our monthly goals? What are our weekly goals? What are our daily goals? You talk about routine. Routine's so important. What do we want to accomplish this year? But then also, what do we want our life to look like 5 years from now? You got to look way down the road to really see what that is. And when you bring that in and you have a crystal clear vision of that, it makes it much simpler to get up every single day and go do the actions and go do the activity.
Yeah, one thing that I think that I really focus on a lot isn't achieving everything that I've ever put out there or thought about, but that I prioritize. I had my top 2 priority goals for 2018, and daily and weekly, I did exactly what I needed to hit those 2. I also threw some other stuff out there, and it didn't so much happen, but those top 2 goals got hit. And so prioritization, I think, is absolutely key. Like, I've had a kitchen on the dream board for a while, but it obviously wasn't in that top priority spot, or it would have already happened. And then each thing happens in its own time when you decide to make that focus a priority, whether it be business, health, spiritual, financial, whatever those goals really are, and then prioritizing it. And then you're just laser focused on that and creating that. So I've had more meditations based on my health and weight loss and, the way that I feel about myself and my body and all of that. Whereas years past, it was financial success, business success, but it was my number one focus, and those goals were accomplished. So you have the ability to, change, and it's not always, we haven't always focused on accomplishing the exact same goal.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you have to have an idea on what you want to create that vision, and then create those goals. And if you don't reach those goals, make the adjustments that can take you closer. So let me ask this question. Let's say somebody does that. They have the goals to reach a certain rank in their company, or to have a certain car or a house or whatever. And they think they're really, really clear on it, but they keep missing it. What do you think that person should do?
The first thing I want to go back and ask them, so many times we look at, especially in this industry, we look at that rank, and what does that rank, about. It's not just the rank. It's what comes with it. You know, could it be, is it the recognition you need? Is it the finances that you need? Is it, you know, that you just want to grow that much? So number one, you got to look at the root cause of why do you want that? You know, for me, it's about that as much as anything else. You know, if we don't go do it, there's usually a reason, and it's, you know, we didn't, you know, do enough activity. We didn't help enough people. It wasn't as important on our priority list. Like Natalie said, you know, we've had tons of goals we haven't hit. We go back and look at it and we said, okay, we didn't hit it. Was it because it wasn't a priority? Is it, we need to move it up on the list? We need to change that. So the first thing is really kind of say, okay, great. What does that get you? Many times we want a certain income level, but we don't really know what that income level does for us. So yeah, we think it'd be nice to go to a different zip code or take our kids to another school, but if that doesn't really drive you or doesn't cause you pain, like apparently the white kitchen with gold lights caused my wife, then a lot of times we won't move. And so I always try to dig in and say, okay, what is the root cause? What is the reason we want to do that? And then, you know, really talk about that with them. To me, that's as much as anything else. So I ask those questions, you know, okay, great. Why do you want to hit that rank? Mm-hmm. And some people all get this blank stare, just like, because that's what everybody wants to do. And I'm like, no, that's not good enough. That's not going to push you. That's not going to move you. You got to really, really, really dig down and find that out. And then, okay. So this past year you had a goal of hitting that. You didn't hit it. What did we do to go get that? And so we did this. And so if you look at that activity, the things they did, how many people they talked to, whatever it is, those action steps that did not equal the outcome they wanted. Okay, great. Well, we got to go change those. Either you have to do more or you got to become more. Right. So where's the disconnect, right? Is if it really drives you and it's really that important, it's usually one of those two options. And then we ask questions to really kind of, you know, uncover what that is.
One of the quotes that I live by is, if failure is not an option, then success is inevitable. And I think that people have to have non-negotiables. One of Nick's non-negotiables when I was begging him to get a job, because I was like, I'll be the creative entrepreneur. Can you please bring us security and stability? Getting a job was a non-negotiable for him. So guess what he created? The business that he needed to support not going to get a job. It was non-negotiable. It wasn't a goal. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a vision. It was non-negotiable. No other option but that was acceptable. And so you do what in its order. So for some people, their non-negotiable is going to work every day and having a boss. And they don't even think about not showing up to work. That's non-negotiable for them. And so they have a job and they're a great employee, and that's what they're succeeding at. So their desire is to create something outside of that, but it hasn't become non-negotiable for them yet. Their non-negotiable is still their current reality. So I think that that's the decision factor. When I'm asking people, they're like, well, this is the rank I want to hit. I'm like, is it non-negotiable? Like, will you not end the year not that rank? And they're like, well, no, I mean, I would be happy if I was this or this. Oh, okay. Well, then let's not make that even the goal, because you're okay with not hitting it.
Right.
Goals that become my top 2 priority goals are absolutely non-negotiable. I was not going to end 2018 not hitting my goal weight for any reason. Like, somehow, some way, I didn't know all the facts. I didn't know how it was going to happen or when for sure me, I would hit it.
There's eggnog and then there's goal weight, you know, so you gotta...
It's not a non-negotiable for you at this point. And so I think that that's what somebody kind of has to realize. They have to dream about it. They have to desire it. And then they have to decide to make it a priority and make it absolutely non-negotiable.
I love that.
They're not okay with not hitting it for any reason. And if it doesn't align, if they can't say that 100%, then they need to adjust it to what really they're not okay. Like maybe it's 2 ranks down, or maybe it's just losing 25 pounds, not the goal. You know what I mean? I mean, it could apply to health, fitness, wellness, success, business, whatever. But I think that's the missing factor when people keep saying this is my goal and they're not hitting it, is it's like, it's not clarified enough, and it's not spot on. Because when you hit it spot on, anyone can slay their goals. It just has to be, what they're willing to do.
I love it. That's powerful stuff. So let's shift the conversation a little bit to a couple of lighter things. Natalie, we'll start with you. Let's say you had the ability to send everybody a text message in the world tomorrow morning about how to create prosperity and abundance. What would that text message say?
Anything is possible. Like, really, truly, anything that anybody wants to create, any life that they could dream up, all of that's possible. They have to believe that they're worthy of it. They have to make it non-negotiable, and they have to get up every day, no matter how you feel, no matter what, and work towards that. Fail, struggle, get discouraged, remotivate yourself, having an accountability partner, having a friend, having somebody to say, yeah, you know what, you are feeling this right now, but you got to look long term, to just get you back on track, whether it be a coach, a accountability partner, a friend. I do voice text, so I would probably say all that.
How about you, Nick? What would your text be? 140 characters.
140 characters. First thing, I think people have to believe in themselves, or know that someone believes in them. So I would say, I see greatness in you. Go out and achieve that which you want to conquer. I'm a much shorter and sweeter person. She always has the better message. Mine's just a lot less, or not a little bit less, a lot less. But my brothers and I, we had a lot of success athletically, and then also in business. A lot of it came down to that I knew hands down that my parents thought that we were unstoppable, when it came athletically. And I think it's a big reason we had success. And I think, comes to business, there's something, whether it's your internal, or whether it's your team or your mentor or whatever it is. That's why coaching is so powerful. That's why your mentoring, what you do, Terry, is just so invaluable for people. That someone believes in you, you can go do a whole lot more than you thought.
If you think you can or you can't, you're right. So why not just think you can?
Right. Okay, Natalie, here's a fun one for you. Do you have an unusual habit or thing that you love?
You answer that.
No, go ahead. No. Yes, you.
You know me better than maybe I even do.
Go ahead.
Unusual habit. So I've always loved beauty, and I've always done it for myself, not for others. And I would say if I ever feel off or down, I just go get ready and make myself look the very best that I know how. And it'll just and it's not for anybody else in the world, but it's just for me. Cause it's okay, I can do it. I feel game on, I get dressed up. I really think you have to show up, look your best, to feel your best, to be your best, to go out and do your best. So I think that would be my weird secret habit, is just show up and be fabulous. So if you're not feeling that way, just go take an hour, go do, I don't know. That's
How about you, Nick?
Unusual habit. I don't know. I've been thinking. I don't really have I don't know. This is kind of weird. We have this conversation a lot. I don't really have things I do personal. I mean, I'm really driven by, I think, serving others, and it's not cliche. I don't get value out of going and having hobbies or certain things. So I love to serve others, whether it's my wife, my kids, group, team. Unusual habit. I got nothing, Terry. Sorry.
Any unusual thing that you love?
He loves football. Don't let him kid you.
A baseball guy who loves football, huh?
After game and not even move out of the man cave.
I love rugby. I think it's an incredible sport. I love sports in general because it really makes the person literally become greater than you are, and you have to believe. And I love that whole battle that goes on in people's minds, and I love psychology of business. And I think that's why I do love businesses, because of the guys that play on TV every day, no matter what sport it is, they're not always the biggest, the fastest, the strongest. They win the head game, and so.
I think that like everybody has stuff that they like quote unquote waste time with. And I think lots of people watch television and they get into all these shows and all that. For me, I've never seen that as helpful or productive for me personally. So I don't like watch any shows. We don't even have like subscription to regular television because I don't watch anything. But I craft and create and I get messy and I like learn to paint or I make something for the kids. And that's also for me. It's to not think about all the things that you have to do and just focus on the things that you get to do that bring you joy and desire. And it gives me a sense of accomplishment at the end that I'm like, I made this for the kids or I gifted them this. It's a way that I make them feel special. But people probably are like, why are you always making things? But it's really just for me because it's how I not work, I guess.
It's therapy, right?
Yeah, it's therapy.
I love it. I love it. Well, I just wanted to say thank you guys, number one, for being amazing parents, because who you are and how you carry yourself is just beautiful. And I just know that your girls are going to be amazing leaders one day. So thank you for that. How can people connect with you if they want to reach out to you guys and connect? What's the best way for them to do that?
Go ahead.
Facebook. I'm a Facebook person. So, Nick Sorensen on Facebook. I think it's facebook.com/nsorensen22. If you need to send a message, go to Messenger. In fact, that's how I communicate with a ton of people is through Messenger. People ask for a card. I pull out my QR reader on Messenger and I take a picture of theirs and I said, send me a message anytime. You can always connect me through there. So definitely on Facebook.
That's awesome. One of my main focuses for 2019 is to grow and build Instagram. I'm a visual creative person. So add me or follow me on Instagram, the Natalie Sorensen. I have lots of plans for awesome content and helpful things coming out there. My Facebook community is called the Mompreneur Club. You can search that. I think we have about 4,500 members in that group. Just females, unfortunately, because it is one of my goals and desires to help women and have like this place where they can feel safe and, it just be really all about, not all moms, but people who either are mom or they desire to be, like they see themselves one day wanting to run a successful business and be a mom. That's what it's all for. Facebook, for sure, follow, but Instagram's going to be my focus for 2019.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, guys. You're just amazing people. I've certainly learned a whole lot today. And I'm excited to watch you guys create all kinds of wonderful things next year, for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, my friend, I know you got a lot of value out of this. Definitely take advantage of them. Reach out to them. There's some amazing people. Great leaders that we all can learn from. If you have any questions, certainly you can reach out to me anytime. If you want to learn about more interviews like this, you can just go to terrypetrovic.com/mentors. Remember this, my friend, you have a choice. Make it a better than terrific day and a prosperous one because you absolutely deserve it. Until next time, bye-bye for now.